Okay,
Okay, we have Supria is here.
Has Supria come in? Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I was just about to ask. Fantastic, fabulous.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Madhura, how are you?
Hi, Supria. So lovely to see you. Welcome to our platform. Welcome to Aspire for Her.
Thank you. I just need to adjust so that my head does not go off as a fiction movie. I need to just figure that balance. But Ruchita, hi. Good to see you. And
Hi, morning.
good morning. And Palak. And let me get my specs going, and then I can remove them later. Yes, it's still very small font. Palak and Pankti. Okay, that's quite a tongue twister there. All right. Lovely.
So, Supria, fantastic. I think we have a whole lot of people waiting for you very eagerly. They are from Bihar, they are from Haryana, they are from Andhra Pradesh, from Karnataka. Lot of people that they're just describing where they are from on the chat box, so you can see some of this. So various different colleges, all kinds of backgrounds. And I see more young people today, and very happy to see that because I think at Aspire for Her, that's what we try to do. Try to ensure that from a young age, you learn to aspire and you want to pursue that amazing career. And
absolutely.
Fabulous.
Haryana, that's my hometown. Now I'm officially in Bangalore, but from Gurgaon. So welcome to everybody logging in from Haryana.
Lots of people from Bihar, in fact. So I am very excited to see that.
Nice.
Fabulous.
All right. So does this go a lot here and there? Do I move a lot, or is that balanced? Is that okay?
We can hear you very well, in fact. So I think if you sort of, yeah, this is looking good.
And the video is fine too, right, Madhura? It's not going too much. My head goes off and all. I mean, all that is fine.
No. All that is fine. But
Lovely.
We'll hand over to Pankti. I think Pankti, it's 10:59 and 1 more minute, and we should get started. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, I think we can start now. Like, I can see people coming in, but Palak, please keep adding them. Good morning, one and all. I, Pankti, will be your host for today. So let's get started. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a leader who aims to change the world for better, Ms. Madhura Dasgupta Sinha. She is the founder and CEO for Aspire for Her, with a mission to change the diversity equation of our country. With over 25 years of experience in the banking industry, her career includes building one of India's youngest banks, of leading the merger of the bank with an NBFC, and of 17 years in an MNC bank in various business leadership roles, including growing the P&L to a $100 million business. We all welcome you to this session, ma'am. Please share a few words with us.
Thank you so much, Pankti. And so delighted to have Supria here. And I'd love to record my thanks for Harleena Sodhi, who made this morning possible in her usual, inimitable, very efficient style. Harleena is a friend of mine from my banking days. And, this is one of the themes that we keep talking about in Aspire for Her. But hey, let me talk a little bit about Aspire for Her, because it's not every day that I get the opportunity of having so many of you in one room with one inspirational leader who we are all waiting to hear from. So thank you, Supria. Welcome to you and the entire Western Digital team. And Harleena, if you're listening somewhere, welcome to all of you to Aspire for Her. Aspire for Her was started on Women's Day last year because we were very disappointed with the gender data that we were seeing from India in the Global Gender Gap Index. We saw that the percentage of women in the workforce is declining steadily for the past 15 years. We saw that the pandemic dealt a cruel blow to the working women of India. And we've actually got a fantastic research report, which our entire team worked on. And we realized that there was much more to the sufferings that women had during the pandemic, as opposed to any other segment of society, working women had, as opposed to any other segment in society. So our mission is to motivate women to enter and stay in the workforce. And our vision is to add 1 million women additionally to the workforce by 2025. So all of you sitting in this room, you may be a student today, you may be aspiring for a higher position, you may be a mid-career professional, you may be a young professional, but our dream for you is that you will pursue an amazing career. You will manage your career transitions with ease because we will give you the resources to do so. We work on a 5-point mindset change model, and we have a bunch of inspirational mentors and role models. We have fantastic learning resources from companies such as IBM and Cisco and LinkedIn. In fact, our next LinkedIn workshop is happening on the 28th. Don't miss that. They're quite awesome people. We have career previews so that you can actually look at careers of various inspirational women and the mistakes that they have made, the paths that they have taken. Sometimes they're not very well trodden paths as well. The fourth pillar we work on is building an amazing peer community so that each of you can lean on each other when you are faced with some kind of challenge, some kind of difficulty. And our message to you is very simple. Don't ever give up. Meet those challenges, beat those difficulties, circumvent the problems, but please do not ever give up on your career. It's very important, especially today, for every woman to have a career and to be financially independent. Yes, we teach you to be perseverant, we teach you to be resilient, but we do not teach you in a classroom environment. We want all of you to end up in one of the 3 E's, either employment or entrepreneurship and education. So today we have a very inspirational person among us whose career we are actually going to see with her and with Pankti. And all of you have shared questions of what you want to ask Supria. So I do not want to stand between this fantastic opportunity for all of you to speak to Supria, and anything else. So here we go. Welcome once again. Pankti, back to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for inspiring us every day. I would now like Yashashvi to share a video with us about Aspire for Her. And I would also request all the participants to please fill in a form that is being circulated in the chat box.
Just let me know if the video is properly visible and if you can hear the sound.
Did you know that the percentage of women in the workforce in India has sharply declined over the last 15 years? Did you know that in the Global Gender Gap Index, India ranks 4th from the bottom in a list of 153 countries in terms of economic participation and empowerment of women? This is actually a $1 trillion opportunity for India. I am Mathura Dasgupta Sinha, founder and CEO of Aspire for Her. At Aspire for Her, we have the vision to add more than 1 million women to the workforce by 2025 and unleash the $1 trillion opportunity in front of India. Our mission is to motivate women to enter and stay in the workforce by using the power of networks and communities that give and take. We are working with mentors and role models, career previews, learning opportunities, webinars, blogs, corporate interactions, jobs and entrepreneurship opportunities, and of course, a wonderful, supportive peer community.
I believe this platform is much needed in today's corporate world, which looks to seek diversity, and institutions which seek employability. Madhura and this platform is passionate about not just identifying women talent for the workforce, but nurturing them, skilling them, reskilling them and upskilling them so that they not just enter the workforce but stay in it and have the ability to re-enter.
Our journey in the last 1 year has been fascinating. We have built a community of 30,000 members, mentors, and supporters across 60 different countries. We have partnered with companies like IBM, Barclays, Cisco, LinkedIn, Standard Chartered, and many others. We were featured by national television, by CNBC, and by We the People on NDTV. Our most comprehensive research report, Women at Work, was published a few days back. To a wide coverage by all sections of the media, with more than 10,000 nudges and triggers across the year, our platform has provided 200 plus corporate interactions, webinars, career previews, and more than 200 1:1 mentorship sessions to our members. We launched the world's first ever Women in BankTech network in an event attended by the leading lights of the industry. A few days back, we launched the Return to Work network for women who were looking to get back into the workforce after a break or a job loss. But the biggest highlight for us has been the everyday success stories that we hear from our members.
For me, success is about getting into the workforce after 22 years. Thank you so much, Aspire for Her.
Out of a large base of 60 million women in urban India who have graduated high school, we are looking at attracting 1 million women to Aspire for Her by 2025 into employment and entrepreneurship. Our revenue model is B2B, and we are looking at partnering with organizations which are forward-looking and diversity-focused as they look at attracting, recruiting, and retaining women in the workforce. We invite you to be a part of our journey.
Thank you, Yashashvi. I would now like to introduce our speaker for today. Supria Dhanda is the Vice President and Country Manager of Western Digital India. She leads India's strategic charter and its expansion, key customer relationships, and government relations, sustained growth of research and development capability, and serves as a spokesperson for the corporate brand in India. She has more than 22 years of experience and has held several leadership roles in business and people functions, has anchored mergers and acquisitions, and has been an entrepreneur as well. She serves on the board of Western Digital India and an independent member of board and an advisory board member on other companies. I would request Supriya ma'am to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Panki. Madhura, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And what you have created is so beautiful. So beautiful. And a good morning to everyone. Good evening. And you said there are many countries people are joining in from. So I would say I wouldn't be able to tabulate all the time zones, but very happy to see. As we logged in, I'm seeing the screens just kind of get filled with the numbers who are logging in. So this is a crusade. This is a revolution that you have started. I would say I'm honored, humbled to be here. And what I look forward to is a dialogue. If there is something that I can say and that inspires, sparks someone, I have been in many sessions where I have got inspired, and that inspiration lasts a week, a month, and then I need another spark of inspiration. I think that is a continuous journey. So I'm happy and excited to be here, and I look forward to answering your very, very tough, complicated questions. And if I can't, I'll be humbled to say I don't know the answer, but I will go back and look for it. I don't claim to know any. I just claim to know a little bit of my life because that's what I'm the closest to. And let's get the dialogue started. Very happy, and I look forward to learning along the way. And congratulations on an outstanding accomplishment. We need more of Madhura to come forward. So congratulations, Madhura. It's a very, very brave attempt. And really, thank you, Ruchita, for the show of the hand. I think it's wonderful what you've created. And I'm going to be with you, like I said, in the initiation, but I'm with you throughout the journey. So just count me in anytime you need me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, without further ado, let's proceed to the question and answer. With diverse education qualifications and experience, was it easy to work through different organizations? How did you make your way in a different space in various organizations that you worked for?
Looking back, it was quite easy. Life always looks very easy in a rare view, right? But they always say the objects look closer than what they really are. So let me take I haven't had too many jobs, but I would say over a career of 23 years now, 1 year got added with pandemic too. So let's start quickly. I'll touch upon my first job was GE. I'm in love with that company. There can be articles written, GE is this, Jack Welch has taken it down the drain. Well, you know what? People are entitled to their opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. I totally love the guy for what he did, took the GE from 1% productivity to 15%. I was in awe of his leadership, and it worked during those times. And when the times change, you can always critique it. So I learned what execution excellence is. I was in a functional HR domain. Then I was part of the global program. And I also learned every year you will change your job. So very quickly go to the job, understand your 30, 60, 90-day plan, get relationships going, get your manager to like you, deliver something and move on. That very quick, fast-paced life running on the treadmill is what I learned. Execution excellence pretty much became my brand. And I understood what business truly is. There is no function. Finance exists for business. HR exists for business. IT exists for business. So business makes sense. We all work for the CEO, which is why he or she is called the CEO. So I think, Panki, that was one. Moved on to an Indian company where I looked at a lot of small-time acquisitions, mergers, and I was like, wow, it's that easy to make money. I'm doing it for someone else, burning 18 hours a day. Well, why don't I, kind of just take the bold and the risk and kind of be on my own? Well, sometimes that was a humble learning. Sometimes you think you can make it on your own, but the job is that much more tough. There is a reason why entrepreneurs across the world are called courageous, bold, creators, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, coffee, or gin, or vodka, whatever you may call it. So what Madhura has created here, I think once again, a huge shout out for that, because I have been on the other end, done a business, and I have failed. So failed entrepreneur, that was my learning. But I understood what to do in a business, how to be bold, how to kick that multiple zero salary and come down to nothing. Humility, no card. I am the face, I'm the business. So I think that was learning. Fast forward, Western Digital has been a fabulous, fabulous journey where in SanDisk I started. It's been my 9 years completing almost, and I'm on my 10th year. I'm almost like a dinosaur in this company, where average age will be 28, 29. Moved from a functional to a business role. Sheer variety, passion for technology. How do you figure out that work is not everything, but you have your passion, your calling, your purpose? I think this job has brought me a lot closer to myself, and humility, learning, technology, passion, people. I think so we can get talking about that and peel off. 9 years is a long journey. But if I say what have I carried throughout, the thread in all my jobs for 22, 23 years, including entrepreneurship, is being yourself. I think I'm very comfortable being myself. It has made me pay a price sometimes when I speak my mouth off. I shout my mouth off. People have called me by names, which I wouldn't want to talk in a public digital recorded forum. And it has made me cry, but I've looked back and said, that's them. This is me. Let the fight continue. And it continues till today. I cry less. I don't worry that much. I think that's pretty much the journey has been. Lovely. It's been good.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure many of us agree with, life is all about taking a risk. Moving on, you have been an entrepreneur in the past. How have you applied those entrepreneurial strategies in your current organization as the leader?
Wonderful question. And sometimes we think that life is led in blocks, but actually it's one building on the other. If you read Atomic Habits by James Green, all he's saying is, whatever you do, wherever you do, sometimes you work in an organization, you don't get promoted or you get pushed out and you leave. You think my hard work went waste. It does not work like that. I love the way he beautifully brings it forward to say, your energy, your work is getting stored. It's just that it may get realized at a certain point when, if you add Malcolm Gladwell, well, it tips, your hard work tips off and you make a good career. So my view is that I've had a lot of learnings in my job today. Because I was an entrepreneur, my transition from a functional to a business role, it was like easy. Easy because there were years of business training, years of understanding how business makes money, how to all that. So I think that was one. The transition, people didn't think I'll make it. I made it. I made it with flying colors. So I think that's nice, being the underdog and then scaling up and coming to the top. I think it's okay to be an underdog sometimes, not most of the time, but sometimes. So I think I was the underdog and that worked for me. The other part I would say is, you got to look at what do you want. Typically running a global capability center, an R&D center in India with Western Digital is a job where you align to the HQ, where you understand what the stakeholders want and you deliver. I think what India needs to realize is it's very important to have your own vision too. So what I learned being an entrepreneur, and I think I had the seeds before, I always have a view on what my job should look like. For me, job sheet is not something that gets me excited. It's an important part, but that's just a takeoff point. It's like a trampoline. You step on it and then you shoot off into the sky. For me, that's how I've looked at all my jobs, my 30, 60, 90 days of creation, ideation. What vision do I bring in? What is the Supria Dhanda stamp on this role? For me, that's always been an exciting part. Leave it better than what it has, what you inherited. So those are things that are dear. And I think having a bold vision, working with the CEO, not only with my boss, but looking at 2-3 levels up and making sure those stakeholders are involved, influencing, selling, working with the ecosystem across the government, industry, media. I can go on and all, Punky, but I'll keep it short. All those things that a business person does. What is your story? What is Aspire for her story? Madhura has a story to tell. We are all partners in this story. I think for India, Western Digital India, creating that story, telling it with conviction, taking people along, and hopefully staying humble and rooted to the ground for any pulse that may come. And therefore, I need to shift that, has been some of the learnings that only an entrepreneur can do. Otherwise, you can move from corporate to corporate and never learn those if you don't step out on your own.
I definitely agree, ma'am. And very well said. Hard work does not go waste. Moving on, a lesson I learned while going through a book named Winning by Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric, that energy is critical. A leader must not only bring energy to every transaction, but must also catalyze out energy in the people she leads. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the way you just switched the book and said in the people she leads, because I'm sure he didn't say she. What are my thoughts? You've known me for 5-7 minutes now. Do you see energy?
I definitely see a lot of positive energy.
There you go. That is all the experience is. When I interact with people, if you look at psychology instruments in all of that, I'm an extrovert. I draw my energy from people. But if you go deeper into that, you also realize all these inventories, instruments, tools are again a starting point to know you. They don't finitely define who you are. You're much more complex than a tool can categorize you in. And I realize there are parts of me which are introvert. Like I do not enjoy parties as much. I like reading and kind of recharging my battery. But energy has stayed with me, Punky, a lot. In fact, I will broaden the scope to say when you read Jack Welch a lot more in detail, and I've chewed every book of his. I've lived for 7 years and, been in awe of his leadership. There are 4 E's that we were taught in GE. Edge. It starts with actually energy. Energy, energize, edge, and execute. If you don't have energy, just take a pause for a second. We can have this dialogue, but just think, take a minute and a second and say, How many people do you interact with in your day-to-day life where you have a smile on your face like Ruchita has right now? It's such a wonderful, infectious smile. And they leave you better than before, happy, charged, excited, and you want to listen to a song, dance, and music. And yet there are others who 10 minutes and you're like, the phone is here, you're here, and you want the conversation to end. They drain you. Call it positive, negative, call it optimist, pessimism. There is room for everyone in this world, which is why we talk about inclusivity. So we're not saying it's either or, but when you have energy, it comes from someplace. It's passion for me. I give 100% to everything. And I tell my husband the day I quit, I will give 100% to that cooking that dish on the table too, to laying out the table, to gardening, to figuring out how to grow coriander without water at home or just with water and no manure. I am passionate and I seek excellence. So that's who I am as a person. So I would like to, it's just natural that there is energy, which is why GE was a wonderful fit. Because if you look at it, it's energy, but to energize others, not to drain others. He very beautifully articulated that. Because your energy can be draining for others. You can come and keep talking about yourself and people will be like, stop it, shut up, not interested. So your energy has to leave others inspired. That's the point of energy, which is beautiful. And second, edge and execute is all about leaving the job better than before. Edge. If there are 1.3 billion people in India, well, how is it each one unique? How do you discover uniqueness? Position that. And therefore, that brings you an edge. There's only one Punky, Salia in the world. There's no one else, right? And therefore, how is that uniqueness brought forward? And this is a lesson for all women. Control your narrative or someone else will. There's definitely someone saying, oh, Supriya is this, or she's that. It's better you come forward and control your narrative. And if you have energy, passion, so mine, Punky, comes from interacting with people. Sessions like this, where I come forward, chat, dialogue, and answer. In my own organization, connecting pulse sessions, talking to women, new hires, new campus graduates, I keep my calendar full. And whilst it's a corporate job, my energy also comes from bringing myself to the road. What am I passionate about? It's not, like I said, only a job sheet. So you will see these trends, building together in what I'm saying. While my job sheet is probably 30-40% of my role, I've added huge dimensions to the role, which are very entrepreneurial. They give energy to me, which is talking to government, creating intellectual property there, going and talking to now Karnataka government on the engineering R&D policy and being a very key feature there and making sure that, we build a better engineering ecosystem than we inherited. And most importantly, passionately working for women and community at large. So when I'm working on these areas, I'm a different person than when I'm writing reports and doing something else, which is also important. Yep.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is really inspiring. I am sure everybody now will be passionate about everything that they do henceforth. You are a proud recipient of the recognition Top 100 Best Companies to Work for Women in India, Working Mother and Avatar Study 2016 and 2019, twice when Western Digital India participated in the study. Apart from that, you serve as an independent member of board and an advisory board member on other companies as well. How do you balance your personal and professional life?
I'll add a few more things to it, just to make it a little bit more complex, and then we'll simplify it. I'm an executive coach, so there are 3 levels that International Coach Federation worldwide certifies you: ACC, PCC, MCLC. So I'm a certified PCC with 700 odd hours. I've just enrolled last week for my MCLC, which is Masters for Coaching, which is a year-long program, another 10 years of another 1,800 hours more, and then you go. So by the way, that's my other passion. I'm a PhD student where they've kicked me out because I took too long to submit my thesis. But yet I'm knocking at the door to say, come on, I'm not done yet. So that's the other part. I love to cook. And therefore that is something I did a lot during pandemic. I had my in-laws staying with me, my house was full. And therefore, there were many months I spent in the kitchen cooking, and I stopped only when everybody expected me to cook. And I'm like, no, cook is out of want, not out of need. And therefore, when to step back as a woman, when you tend to get little taken for granted. I'm a little sensitive on that. I'm not going to put breakfast, lunch, and dinner on table. I would like to cook, but not if someone expects too much. So this is where it is, Punky. I love to read. I am writing a book. I don't know when it will get published, but I'm writing that too. So when you see all these elements, I love to write poetry. It comes naturally to me. That is multiple other things that put together constitute a Supria Dhanda. Now, how do I balance? I don't balance. I have been called a computer by my husband sometimes to say, did I marry a computer? Well, sometimes, yes, maybe you did. I would prefer he married an iPad and not a computer, but maybe he did. So what I do is there is no formula I can share, which is that I lead a balanced life. I will go back to my previous answer. What I do lead is a complete and a fulfilled life. At least I try to, which is the balance of my family, my work, and more importantly and equally importantly, my passion. So there are these tripods on which my life stands. If it was only work for a week or 2 weeks, which happens in a pandemic situation, I have a lot on my plate, my other two take a backseat. And therefore it's a little tilted, right? And if it is more that I want to take a week off, let's say sometime, because I want to go back and write a little bit more on my book and do something else on my area and think deep or just watch Netflix, well, then the other two go out of balance. If it's pure family and I tell myself no to-do list on any book or work, so my sense is I don't live day to day balancing my life, but I do live month to month or a quarter to quarter balancing my life. And when I look back at it over a year, I have family WhatsApp groups that I've started. I'm the lead there. So I know those are working well. I know my employees are doing well. We are safe and business is as usual. I know my book is taking off. And I'm passionate about coaching women. So if some of you want to do that, I'll be more than happy to do it for you pro bono. So my sense is those are areas which I balance from time to time. Yeah. But overall, it looks an okay balance sheet with decent asset and liabilities. But it's not a day-to-day balance. I think it's more integration. You heard that before, but I try to integrate everything in a day. And that's how it works. And I get tired, well, then I sleep. I sleep for long hours, 12 hours at a stretch. So no one can wake me up. So you get that. That's truly me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure this was one of the favorite questions that we get, Moving on to the next question. Recently, I read about a program launched by Western Digital in partnership with WeHub for women-led technology startups to get them in investment ready. We would want to, hear more about the initiative.
So, Pankit, these are great questions. And before I answer that, I'll just take a pause and say, while you're listening to me talking, and I'm sure Madhura has more than coached, guided, and advised on this, just see what resonates with you and keep writing those reflection points. I take copious notes, when I attend a session. And then I go back and I realize sometimes they're in the notepad, sometimes they are in the iPhone, sometimes they are newspapers, sometimes they're diaries, and we get lost in document data management. Over a period of time, just a simple A4 sheet has worked well for me. So my sense is just continue doing that. And if there's anything else we need to come back and answer for you, we'll be more than happy. Because what you say is just tip of the iceberg. Well, there is an entire iceberg that's below, which is challenging. So I don't like telling good stories. Oh, I'm blessed by God and all of that. I am blessed by God. But there's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, lots of failures, and lots of tears on the pillow in the night, and lots of support from family, friends. That has got me to where I am. I did not reach here alone. And I did not reach here all smiling and, riding a nice wave and, Emirates first class. It did not happen. It has its failures and I cherish my failures. I cherish when things were so dark and gloomy that I didn't think I'll wake up next day. And I did. And then I knew not to get so attached to the failure too, because that also passes. And so success does, so does the failure. So just wanted to say that before I go on and answer and, smile and think it's all hunky-dory. It's never hunky-dory, but it's your choice what you want to look at. So Panki, sorry for that diversion. I'm happy to come back with the V.Hub. Like I said, when I got this role, it was more like an engineering leader of a region site. I decided to say that that's something that anyone can do. But if I'm going to do it, then I want to lead India, not just a site, because they can be multiple sites by simple English language. And therefore, I want to lead an India region. I want to be responsible for influencing customers, sales and marketing, and I want to understand what India as a market can do. Therefore, I added that flavor, and for that, it requires liaising with the ecosystem of government. Government makes policies, they impact you positively or differently. And therefore, I started a partnership with Government of India. We started with many bodies of government. Startup India and Invest India came through for us wonderfully. And we started a India-wide challenge called Data Innovation Bazaar, We did its first edition 2018. So that's where the entrepreneurial streak comes in. It's never been done before, never thought. We actually conceived, and it was an intellectual property created. And I take the credit for that. And I know my team did partner and we did a very good job across. But as women, we need to learn to say I. Everything is not a we, there is I. So learn to say I. I conceived, I did it, but I know I did not do it alone. It took a team and a very, very good, encouraging, passionate one team to deliver. So we did that. As part of the winners, we declared top 40 finalists. We looked at them and said, all right, there are 1,000 odd who participated in DIB. We call it Data Innovation Bazaar, DIB 2020. And while there were 1,000 plus, a good 40 of them we recognized with awards, with boot camp and all that. It's a very long effort that continues. And the focus is to catalyze the entrepreneurial startup community of India. With that, we realize as much as we talk about inclusivity, diversity, gender diversity, can we add an element everywhere? Gender diversity needs to get embedded in everything we do. It cannot be just one standalone. It has to be interspersed, integrated with every aspect, be it hiring, promoting, developing, and all that. While we do a good job within Western Digital, I think this was an opportunity to create a special category for awarding women in women in entrepreneur category, and that went very well. We took the top 8 finalists and partnered with V.Hub, Deepti Ravula. She's fabulous. She's the CEO of the only women accelerator program initiated by Telangana government. So we had these 8 startup leading women entrepreneurs partner with V.Hub, and the offering was 12-week accelerator program. I think we just concluded it a month back. It went beautifully. There was a team member of mine who was leading it, architecting, understanding what they want, working with V.Hub and what they can offer. And the objective is to make sure we prepare you. The V.Hub prepares you in terms of resources, marketability of your pitch, understanding your customers, and kind of fine-tuning the model, and finally positioning you in front of venture capitalists to make sure that you get set up for scale and success. So that's how we did it. Like every year when we do something, we make sure we add new elements to it. DIB 2020, the newest element was this. So that worked well.
This is such a great initiative, ma'am. I'm sure it will provide a platform for many women, to get all the guidance that they need. Moving on to the next question. Having 22 years of experience and several leadership roles and entrepreneurial roles, can you tell us about the one person who has a tremendous impact on you as a leader?
So in a digital world, you connect us with many, right? And in a face-to-face world, it was still limited. You had to sit in your car or sit in a flight or, domestic or international travel and meet people. But in a digital world, there are a number of people you connect with. So one is not going to be sufficient, but I'll answer it to the truest of my ability. Yes, Jack Welch has been an inspiration. I would also say my mentors at work, who are also my bosses within Western Digital India. I have a solid line and a dotted line, both of them. One is head of engineering, the other is president of Western Digital. They have been a great influence. They know the good, bad, and the not so great parts that Supria Dhanda as an individual carries, and they always trust me. And they know that it's very important in the corporate when you're in senior role that someone has your back, someone has your badge on the table for you. So I think they have been very inspiring, and that has worked very well. But if I be very true to this, to say what else, my mom, she is 67 or 68, and she's just doing her master's course in Ayurvedic medicine. Now that for me is inspiration. And when she tells me, how do you draw this intestine? I'm good at drawing. And she's like, can you sketch this for me? And I'm like, do you really have to do this? She's been an art of living teacher for 20 years now. And she keeps on getting upgraded. Her promotions are much faster than the corporate recognizes me for. And she's found a passion. And when she did a master's course, I'm like, if you can do it, I can do it too. So I think being a continuous learner is what we say. I see that within my household. And my dad teaches me one thing, which is if you and your boss get into an argument, a discussion, well, you may beat down your boss because you're intelligent and you have an argument. But guess what? The boss always has the last word. So do not have ego-driven discussions. Sometimes when you're succeeding, you're doing well, ego tends to accumulate. So he's always told me to keep shedding my ego. My husband, oh my God, he says, I'll love you till death do us apart. And I think when we are in organizational environments like that or others, we do get drained. So you need people who will charge you, fill you back with love and say, we are there for you. no matter whether you are an Indranuyu, you're not, right? So I think that kind of companionship, wherever you get it from, your brother, sister, spouse, siblings, friends, I think those are very important for you to do well. So I've got a lot of people, Funky, where I learn from, who keep me honest and also avoid any burnout in my life.
I'm sure many of us agree that mothers are the inspiration that all of us have. One inspiration that all of us share will be our mothers. So I'm really, really glad to know your mom, doing so well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, what is one characteristic that every leader should possess?
So, as I'm talking to, I'm also doing a little bit of a research on what kind of leaders are there. If you were to architect a new model on inclusive leadership, what would that include? I mean, right in the midst of this. But whilst all of that literature will get written and will have its place in the world of academia and practitioners, I would say just be yourself. For me, that has been the biggest learning. And today I would say be human. We are so busy being strategic leaders. We are so busy being cost-effective leaders. We're so, it's like servant leader. I mean, we can keep coming up with this. And I love academia, I love research. But I would say be human first. And that in itself is a quality that is not going to come easy, because there are going to be pressures where you'll be stretched in different directions. But can you just talk to Punky and be in that moment with her and be human first? And it's not like I want to be Salman Khan's advertisement here, being human, but I would say be human and be yourself. Because they say, like someone said, all the places are taken. Ruchita's place is taken, Madhura's is taken, Palak's is taken, Supriya is taken. So what can you be? You can be just yourself. So Pankti, be yourself and see what uniqueness comes to you. Everything else can be copied, imitated, but you can't be. So I would say as a leader, just be yourself and be human. Please put people first. When I was in a people-centric role, I focused on understanding and business. Now, when I'm in a business role, my entire effort is on understanding people. So it is not about technology, 3D, NAND, the engineers will figure it out. They will, we have very smart teams. But I think what we need to know is that your priority, your safety comes first and you come first. So I would say that's the first thing leaders need to remember. It's not human resources. I think we can just leave it human. There's no need to tag our resources to it. Just value human and look at human lives and all that. So that's a little bit of a philosophical answer, but I'm in my, beyond my mid-40s. So that's what you're going to expect when you ask that question.
One thing I learned for sure from you today is how important it is to, be yourself. And even considering the situation right now, I'm sure it's really important to, be human. Everybody is, facing a really tough time. So all we can do is compassion, humility. I'm sure.
And like Michelle Obama said, everyone has a story. Do you know, I have, 3,500 employees. Do I know each and everyone's story? I don't. But do I want to? Yes. So everyone's story is there. All of us are carrying a lot of lives, trials, and tribulations. And the way we behave at work is the culmination of all that, not the starting. So I think it's very important to be human and have empathy for those, because they are coming from a space which is, if I can take a moment and belabor it, there was someone in my team who said 2-3 weeks back, I want to quit, I want to resign. And I'm like, okay, the last person I expected to say that, because we were really doing well and the person is doing fabulously well. And I was like, and during the pandemic, another person also walked up and said, and both are women leaders. And for a second, what was my response? Shock. Second, anger. Are you sure? Like, yeah, I've decided. I was like, is there any room for discussion? No, I think this is the best. And my next comment was my ego came in. And I was like, well, if you've decided and it is a one-way relay of the message and there's no room as a manager for me to talk to you, well, then we can go ahead and proceed. And like I said, my dad taught me check your ego, irrespective. He taught me to check it with the manager, but I decided to check it with everyone else, right? Well, that's important. And then the ticker went on in my head. There was a bell ringing saying, oh my God, Supriya, it's your ego talking. It's your ego talking. Step back. Step back. This person is going through a little bit of a difficult time in their life. There's a tragedy in the family that's taken place. Maybe this is not all the picture that you're seeing. So I think listening to your parallel voice and saying, pause, check your ego, cool off, and then start again. Hit the reset button. When I did that, it was an hour and a half long conversation. And the person continues to stay engaged and is there. So there were a lot of stuff that was happening at the background. It wasn't. It was sometimes to say, am I important still? Am I doing well? A lot of things had just added up. All it needed was just a conversation. A person continues to stay engaged. It's not like I'm not worried that, oh my God, will this resurface? But then you have to do your bit to make sure it doesn't resurface, because we are all insecure right now with so much of chaos around. So I think that's all it requires, a show of empathy and stretching your hand to handhold. And I would say women do it much more for women, because our worlds are far more complex than men's world out there. A child's health, a parent's illness, some tragedy in the family, anything can get us to defocus. So don't, be there that moment to hold, stretch a hand, and you may just have that person with you for a much longer time than you thought. So I thought I'd just mention that. Now, was there anything else, Punky? Was I answering? I don't want to lose my train of thought with you.
No, ma'am. Thank you so much. Moving on, I would like you to, give advice to the new age leaders that we have, a message for our community.
All right. I don't know what I would say. For your community, when you say community, let me ask, you're talking about all the women out here on this forum? That's what you mean by community? I see Madhura and Ruchita nodding, yes. So I would pick up from where I left the last anecdote, stay in the game. There is so much of literature on and data on, less than 4 or 5% of the Fortune 500 women CEOs. Well, why is that? Of course, there is a bias. The system is not very equitable, equal. There are filters, there are glass ceilings, glass cliffs, and all that. However, someone will have to break it. There's someone who scaled Mount Everest, there's someone who landed on the moon. It did not happen. It wasn't in a small feat, and this isn't either. India did not get independence overnight. It was 100 years and so many years of struggle, and yet one day it happened. I wish there was a day I can declare that, yes, 24th May, 9:30 a.m., now women will be treated equal to men. I wish it was that clear, and then all of us are signing that petition, and you and I can be the Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi and all that, and we say we have declared now independence and freedom for women, and now our choice is ours. Well, that I don't see happening as much as I would say. So what is it we need to do? Push harder. You can get a seat at the table. I would say please make sure that along with the seat, which is just nothing but a desk and a chair and a little bit of a lean in, make sure you have voice at the table. Go early 5-10 minutes and make sure you sit absolutely at the center or the head of the table. I have consciously done that, and small things make a difference. How you prepare, over-prepare. Reason being, I personally believe the world, till it's fully equal and free of all the biases, it's going to expect a lot more out of it. It is. And therefore, the standards are going to be a little different that we are held on to. Are you a great mother? Nobody asks, are you a good father? So my sense is there are those biases. We're going to do a lot more household work than the men. There are enough and more research and studies that we do 5 hours and we do 30 minutes. Now, there's no point getting them to the kitchen and doing all of that. Of course, that's not. But you need to step away a bit and build your support system. So my sense is advice is stay in the game. Learn the art of business, which is finance, investment. Build your investments early on. Have a good finance portfolio. Start keeping a bit of your money aside. That's a huge safety and security. What else? Network. This is a great platform. Now you have some people who came on board, some who will click and listen to the session, and some who will not. And those are the ones who probably are missing out, or unless they have it all figured out, then I would love that. I wish I could be one of those who have it all figured out. But if not, I think continue to network. We get a lot of bad comments for not networking. I will vulnerably share here in all honesty. I was someone who did not believe in networking 4 years back. I just wouldn't network. If you go back and see my LinkedIn profile, it's there. You will not see any post 4 years before. I'm like, not there. Social media, none. I've just started that when I got a business role because my team depended on it. I need to sell India, position India. And if I don't do that just because I don't like networking, I don't deserve the job. But I don't deserve to stay in the job. And therefore, my job required it. And it made me learn the art of networking. And today, I am at most places where I want to be. I would always say no to these sessions before. In last 3 years, I don't think in 2 years especially, I don't say no to any opportunity because it is the time to put your voice out there, network. And sometimes I do get told by my husband, this is networking too. Yeah, that is a networking event too. Yes. He's like, oh, damn. I mean, how much will you network? Well, I'll network. The sky is the limit because when we meet people, magic happens. The dots get connected. So Steve Jobs showed us the way. Well, let's follow it. So those are some small single few points of nuggets that I will say, and I've applied to myself. I'm not sharing it because I haven't done it. Stay in the game. There are many times I wanted to quit. I just did not. So quit when you want to, not because you're being forced to or there's no option. So yeah, and network and build your bridges and follow your passion. Understand what motivates you, charges you, because that's what's going to keep you longer in the game. When every other fuel has run out, your passion is going to be the longest, deepest fuel that will keep you going. I hope that helps, Pankati. This is all I can think of.
That was really inspiring, ma'am. I'm sure, we all will try to stay in the game and network more. That is what AFS is all about. This has been the best thing that happened to me. I learned so much. I grew. I networked with people, all thanks to Madhura ma'am and AFH.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Moving on, VWA Awards is a great initiative to recognize, reward, and replicate women's professional success. We would love if you could shed some light on the same.
Absolutely, my favorite topic amongst others. So Viva Awards. So a year back, I was awarded by Ask Insights as the DNI CEO, and I shared that with, I think, Robert Bosch, if I don't get that wrong. But that happened, and that was great. Enjoyed it. And I was like, Fortune is constantly getting in touch with you to say, we're profiling you, we're doing that. And when I looked at all of it, there's only so much you can take from the world, was my thought. One award, okay, now it can be 2, 3, 4. But something told me, and this is again my 45 plus age talking, to say at some point, it's less about what you can take, it's more about what you can give back. Madhura has started this beautifully, Aspire for Her. I'm a fan. I'm a big, big fan. This is what we need more of. So she started it on a very large scale, and this is going to, reach the million and more. Madhura, you're going to surprise yourself and the women colleagues who need you, because this is going to be a much bigger thing than even what you're thinking. It's going to go beyond your vision, and you're going to see huge success by number of lives you're going to touch. What we did was we said, let's do a small step we keep hearing the problem statements. There aren't enough women role models. Okay. And at best, we go back to our mom. And if our mom is working, brilliant. My mom found her second career as art of living teacher, and that inspired me. I think I started loving her, respecting her a lot more when I saw her working. I have no idea what is there. How am I wired? I love the housewives. I have a lot of respect, but I think I inclined a little bit towards, or heavily sometimes towards, I'll be honest, towards working women, because we are also managing house. It's not like we aren't doing it either. And of course, there is a huge issue of childcare, support system, elder care. Unless those get fixed, not everybody who wants to work can work. So there are a lot of real-time challenges where I think our women folks are stuck. So when we looked at one problem, role models, we said, when I interact and I go in so many forums, a lot of them are deep technology panels. Well, it's heavily male-dominated, heavily. And then I look at the academia, there are many. I look at the world of legal, HR, IT, there are quite a few. Sales and marketing, still quite a few. Manufacturing, a bit less. So we partnered with Vedika Women Alliance. Vedika also runs Only for Women, MBA program, and I have 3 4 recruits from there who worked with me today as part of my team, and I absolutely love the education, the roundedness, personality that they bring. We thought we'll partner with them because we had a common mission to shine light on women. So how about we come forward? And we are not looking at Indra Nooyi's and others of the world that we are going to do. We are going to do it differently. People you and I can relate to in a day-to-day life more at an India scale is what we are looking at. So we said, let's start a platform wherein across legal, HR, sales and marketing, finance, IT, and then across sectors like deep tech, manufacturing, and others, we bring forward women in the various areas who are doing very well, and we award them. Award is just a token. More importantly, it is to profile them and say, well, these are the 50 women. In case you thought there aren't any women, well, this is a list of 50. Go read what they do. Get inspired by them. We will get a few of them to this session with Madhura and talk to them and see what their life has been. And then that's a continuous learning and inspiring. And this is done to make sure that we never say we don't have enough women. We have enough to at least now start talking about them. The numbers need to increase, yes, but what are we doing with those numbers? So while Madhura goes and increases the number, we thought we would look at a little bit of the numbers who already are there and shine more light on them, just spotlight focus. So that's the intent, to make women visible. I do want to make an appeal on this forum. Thanks, Madhura, for the shout out. I do want to make an appeal. Don't think before you go and apply. Please go ahead and apply. We have this platform. Please go ahead and apply. I can tell you honestly, when my team wanted me to apply for that award of D&I leader, I'm like, I'm not going to get it. We haven't done much. What did I just display? Lack of confidence in your own abilities. There are others who are doing more. You will be surprised how well you're doing and how you're doing much more than what an average other person is doing. So have faith in what you're doing, because I had a bit of that, but it's also hard work. My team had more faith. They went ahead, filled it. I said, okay, let's do it. And a month later, I'm sitting at Goa on a nice holiday with my husband, and I get a call saying we won it. I'm like, no kidding. We won it. No kidding. Well, that was one LinkedIn post that got maximum likes and all that. So I'm like, oh, this works. This works. So please go ahead, nominate yourself, encourage yourself, send, feelers. If you think there are others who deserve it because you know them, go just publish their name, fill in the form. I would love to say that 50 is not enough. We should do 100, 200, because this platform is just the seeding. We are going to make it much bigger and larger. We just did 50 because we were like, let's start small. You can always build it more. So that's what we are. Please, this is my earnest request to go and nominate. Madhura, we would really need your help there too, but nominate. You will know a lot of women, so just go ahead and nominate. I would love to see more women, and for us to be pushed out of limit to say, Supria, you thought too small. We have 100 women we need to recognize. I am happy to be proved wrong in these situations.
That would be such a happy problem to have, right?
Yes.
And I am just quickly telling all of you here on this forum and whoever will be listening in later on our YouTube and other channels, that as Supria said, please nominate yourselves. This is just about shining light and about creating those role models, not necessarily the ones who everyone in the world looks up to. But we can look at so many examples of people who are starting small. People, I think 12 years is the sort of a time frame that you put. So anybody who has 12 years of experience can just apply themselves, or anybody else you find inspirational. In fact, we'd like you to put multiple nominations for yourself and maybe for others as well who you find inspirational. We find a lot of inspirational women all around us. In fact, some of them right now are leading something that we call Not Alone, an initiative that we have just started 3-4 days back for women who have lost their source of financial sustenance due to COVID. So I see a lot of them coming forward, giving their 200% of time, effort. I'd like to nominate some of them because they're doing such a wonderful job. And thank you, Supria, for that. I think this is an amazing session. But really request all of you on this platform to please go and apply. The links are going to come out very soon, right after this session, because we wanted Supria to announce it here, and then we wanted to, sort of unleash this whole thing on our community. So the links are going to come out. Just wait till the next few hours, and please start applying. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhura. Thank you for that. That really helps.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great initiative. I'm sure people will, nominate every woman who inspires them, nominate themselves too.
Absolutely.
Before moving on to the audience questions, I would request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback form that will be circulated in the chat box. Thank you. So, ma'am, we have a question from the audience for you. What strategies can be adopted to mitigate the risk of failure in entrepreneurship? For example, one spouse can be in a salaried job while the other starts an entrepreneurial venture. So,
Yes, so you already answered it, that, it's okay to do that because, if you have family, you have responsibilities, if you have children, there's always going to be a surplus that you would need, a stable source of income that you would need. And it also puts less pressure on the one that was an entrepreneur to make sure that, you have a little bit of a runway you're giving yourself. The journey in itself is so challenging, without, kind of adding that, yes, I have to put food on the table. So if that luxury is there with you, I would call that, then it's okay to do that. But if someone wants to do a spouse and a team and kind of both of you want to do it, choice is yours. I think the beautiful thing is the choice. There are many things, there's tons and tons. And in fact, my thesis, if I ever get to that, was in understanding women entrepreneurs. I would talk a little bit, one or two things. It's the audacity of the vision. When I talk to a lot of VCs, angels, it's all about that. And they say that men come forward and talk, we can scale the market 10 times, 100 times, and those are the numbers. And women tend to be a little bit more conservative and realistic. So there are many things that you can read, but this is one thing that always stands up. And they said that, I was there in a recent Thai forum conversation, and where they said that, they said, you know what, we know that the men aren't going to meet it either. What we're interested is how large is your vision? Because if you don't meet it today, the timelines may differ, but we know that if you're thinking that big, you may meet it 3 years, 5 years down the line, not necessarily 12 to 18 months. So it's the thought process, the audacity of vision that they're looking at. So that's kind of one that you can use, mitigate and at least think big, think broad. The other is teams. Women tend to sometimes, the literature says they do it with their businesses, with their family members and all. It's always good to have a diverse team and not kind of branch away. I think that in itself is something that works very well. The third, I would say, is again, numbers. Numbers is very, very important. A large part of the journey of an entrepreneur, you may start with solving a real problem because that's the truth and that's where it meets. But going forward, your job will become a lot about raising funding, Series A, B, C. A scale is going to come from there. Unless your business model is different, it's more cash rich and so you have discovered something. But a lot of entrepreneurs complain, we started for the love of technology, the medicine, and probably customer service. And now it's all become, our job has just become about raising funds. Well, that is going to be a reality. It's good if you know that early on, and therefore you are well versed in finance, the language of business. That is going to be extremely critical. I've sat in juries where I look at and there's somebody who's very passionate, but when you ask them questions about finance, they're like, oh, that's not our area. Well, when you're an entrepreneur, everything is your area. Everything. I don't think you have that choice or a luxury. You may have members, but when you go on juries, you win awards, you go for competitions, the world is very intense today and very open. I think it'll be great to start that early on too. So know your business, know how money is, and technology. So I think finance used to be earlier the language of business. Today, I would say is technology. If technology is mainstream part of your business, great. If it's a process you're digitizing and automating, well, that too is possible. But in either ways, it's going to be very, very important. Your scale is going to come from technology. So I would say these are some of the things you can do. Very important on a personal note, I'll close with that to say, you have to know one or two people. One is good enough. Sometimes we say two, but one is good enough to say, who's that person you're going to sit down with when you've had a rough day? The highs are highs, the lows are lows. Who is that person who's going to hold your hand and say, it's okay, tomorrow will be a new day? Who's going to put you back in the game? That is someone very, very important for you to figure out. So build those investments, build those bridges early on. It need not be family. It can be family. It could be friends, need not be friends, but you need to find out that one or two people you can. You're lucky if you have two or more. You will need definitely one for sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am. One thing I really loved about it, being an entrepreneur, everything is your area. So you have to do everything. Moving on to the next question that we have from the audience. How do you tackle people who are constantly trying to, bring you down and block you from achieving your goals?
Oh, I wish I had a mosquito bat, right? It's the game that you play, right? Boom, one goes down and the other comes up. Oh God. How do you bring down? Okay, so I'm going to answer it. I have many answers to this. Okay, many. I'll be honest, but there is always a time and there's always what you want to say. The most important message, Here is what I'm going to say, what my learning is. And I practiced it most of the times. One is be aware. You have to use your intuition. You sense something. I am very intuitive. I think I have that in me. So that either you'd go by intuition, trending, patterning, and drawing a framework, and your brain can very quickly map that data and it comes to your rescue, or you can be data driven. S or an N is what we say in our world. So either you're intuitive or you're not, or you're data driven. See what works for you. Who are you? Which side do you fall on? I love data, but I'm more intuitive. I'm like more to go in the moment. Oh, I like this person, or I don't like. And that intuitive sixth sense that talks to me, when I have gone away from it, I've usually faced more disasters. People change, but a tiger doesn't lose its stripes. So you have to know that, trust once broken, you can build it again, but it usually doesn't get built all over again. These are usually finite things. So you decide how many chances you want to give those people who've betrayed your trust once too many times. So here are some of the learnings. I would say clarity of your mission and steadfastness and resilience in that and commitment to that is what is more important. People are always going to talk stuff that is not right. They're always going to probably have you deflect for their own motives, which I don't think we can talk about here, and we shouldn't. There's no need in getting into others' motives. I think we need to be staying trueness to our purpose. So when I got a lot of voices coming from outside on who I am and what I'm doing, they did bring me down temporarily. And then I looked at saying, is that true? So I spoke to people I trusted and I realized maybe there is some truth to that, but not all of it. And therefore, what was true is what I put through my own sieve and filter and said, okay, this is something I can work on and change. But the other, I would rather ignore. So I stopped listening. And then over a period of time, the voices died. And then I'm like, oh, people don't talk anymore that about me. But actually, it's not that. I just don't listen to that anymore. They can talk what they want. It's a free world, freedom of speech. You got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Well, talk away, tweet away. I'm not going to say I'm going to smile. I'm just not going to pay heed to it. So it's a beautiful folklore story to say that when you go through the day, a lot of things stick on to you. We'll go and stand in a nice magnetic field with divinity or resource or whoever you higher power you believe in. And all of these will get pulled away. So the dirt doesn't stick on you. And when you go to bed in the night, well, your shirt is clean. I love that folklore. I love that story. And that's what I try to practice. I don't succeed all the time, guys. There are times when those things I carry, and I be honest here, and they hurt me. But what's the point? I am analytical and logical enough and pragmatic that if it doesn't go off in a day, it goes off in a week. And sometimes it takes a month. But I do dust that off. I do. And then I try to stay clear away from those people. Even if a physical space I can't, I interact with them daily. Let's say, for example, I have to. I do build an emotional wall around me. If you read my blog on LinkedIn, which I wrote recently, I started a new series as STS Coach. And I said, I usually detach in 2 steps. I detach emotionally first before the physical detachment happens. I was once in a relationship, didn't work. And I was like, okay, they're meant to work and not work, big deal. But I would first pick my pieces and emotionally detach before I actually decide on physical detachment. So that's for me because I protect my core. It's the core that hurts. So protect your core and just bring in a distance emotionally from those people who bring you down. There are many of those and they will deflect you from your path. And you can't afford to get deflected. We have work, we have family, we have friends, we have passions. Where is the room for negative people? Out. Push them away. Stay core to yourself and surround yourself by people who love you. And if you don't find any, well, love yourself. Just like they say all these things, right? Pat yourself on the back. So I like the job we met, Kareena Kapoor. I am my favorite person. And I'm a Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood, you name any wood, I am that fan. I'm a Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, walking, talking, live advertisement. I binge watch. Well, that helps me not think of them because I think of Carrie Matheson and Homeland as to what is she going to do next. So I'm busy with my own fiction world that lovely OTT platforms have created. I don't think I have time to think about the others who bring me down. There are enough fictional characters I can surround myself with. They entertain me and keep me happy. Did I make you disappear, Funky, with that answer?
I see that we share some interests in terms of Netflix and Amazon Prime. A lot of Carrie Mathison we have watched.
I love that. Love.
That's lovely
Madhura.
show. Lovely
For me,
show.
that's a de-stress, big time de-stress. And also
Same
one.
here. Same here. And it actually, Amazon has this click which says women with strong, series with women strong characters, the strong women characters, right?
Yes, yes.
And I think they have, obviously the artificial intelligence has decided that I do go for shows like that. So they keep giving me those nudges and triggers.
There you go. So I love that. I love Little Fires Everywhere with Kerry Washington. So I'm like, I love that.
Yeah, I love that show as well. Yeah.
Right. So I watch all kinds, and it's interesting. So sometimes people also say, how do you get time to do that? Well, you know what? Read what Bill Gates talks about, how he figured. It's a beautiful talk. Read what Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about, how many hours are in a day and how he got to what he did, a Hollywood, then, a weightlifter, and of course, a great mayor. So you have time if you put together a calendar. It's just that you peak on different things in different times. I have binge watched for 8-9 hours. I would sleep at around 11-12. My husband has woken up at 6:30 in the morning. He's an early riser. And he has seen me hooked to the Netflix and saying, you haven't slept? No. So yes, I have done that, and not once, multiple times. So I get criticism for staying on top of that world too. So I have done that, and I love it. It works. Sleep is overrated sometimes.
No, lovely to get that personal side of yourself. And there we have Pankti back again.
You're on mute, Pankti. Pankti, yes.
I think Pankti is facing some internet issues. So the last question from the audience is, when you look back in time, is there anything you wish you would have done differently?
Wow, that feels like I'm sitting on Karan Johar or Oprah show, right? If I could have done differently, so I would give a cliched answer. Allow me to do that. It's a closing session, and cliches do work a lot of times. It's good to live a life of no regrets because they haunt you in your lowest, darkest hour. So it's better to resolve them in your happy times. It's better. I will tell you, I have been called aggressive many times. It used to hurt me. Till I said, yes, I am. Very ambitious? No, seeker of excellence. Even if I make a biryani at home, which is a dum biryani, I would go read recipes, not 1, but 5, figure out which one, and then I would make it. Does that make me ambitious because I want to feed 1,000 people? No, I'm only feeding 10 or 11 people at home. So it is a seeker of excellence. So my sense is it's the narrative that you need to control. It's the narrative. If you want your narrative to be, oh, I wish I was born a man, the world would be equal. Well, then you're not valuing the God's gift that God has given you. I believe in God. I totally believe in a higher power above me, because otherwise a lot of the stuff in my life I can't explain. So my sense is I love what I have. I am happy. And I would like to retire with a nice margarita, chilled in my hand, lime, classic. I love classic. I'm not much into experimentation on that front. And say I lived a full life. I'll be sharing this right now. So therefore, that does not include regrets. That does include things I could have done better, which is what makes me a continuous learner and a humble one at that. Can I do this session differently? Yeah, I wish I had very quick answers and I could take more questions. Those are things I'm comfortable with. But I wish I wasn't born this way. I wish I wasn't aggressive. I wish I heard feedback early on. Well, that's not me. I'm quite smug that way. I have an armor of steel that I don't want cracking. There are things you can cock and screw and add in it. But you can't tell me that there is a regret I had. No, I don't have children. I wish I had. But you know what? That also gives me opportunity to love my fur baby. She's 15 Labrador Retriever. She gets all the love. So my love did not get distributed with human babies. I love my nephews and nieces with a lot more love pouring out because it did not get restricted to just my kids if I had. Well, that lot of people in India could call it a regret. No, it's the way the life was ordained for me, the hand that God dealt with me, and I want to make the most of it. Now it makes me footloose and fancy free. My husband and I can pack a bag and go anywhere. We have eaten all that we want. We don't have to eat burgers and pizza. So again, life is going to throw you, deal with you a deck. It's up to you how you want to make a winning game out of it. Regret is not part of who I am. No, absolutely not. I want to write a story to say I lived it. I have certain things I want to do. Like I'll tell you, women say we don't stand up and fight for our compensation. Literature says we don't do a good job. Literature says we raise our hand for the job only when we are 100% prepared. Well, I raise my hand when I'm less than 50% prepared, maybe even 10. So I have these checklists as a woman that I want to do and call the bluff out from time to time and stand up so that when I write my story, I say, I've done it. I've asked for my compensation. Yes, I've raised my hand when it was less. Yes, I was called aggressive and I did not get dissuaded. I rather said, okay, let's change the tone a bit and took it in my flow. So all of these things are part of who I am, which is learning, but not regret. No, I will be born the same way and I might do things differently, but just because I'm a learner. Not because I regret doing them previously. I did the best in what was given to me. And I am okay with that. My latest LinkedIn post is, I am okay. I failed and I succeeded and I am okay.
I really love the way how you have taken everything so positively, and this session has been really inspiring and motivating for all of us. Now, I would like to invite Ruchita Tandon, Lead Alliance and Partnership at Aspire for Her, to give the vote of thanks.
Wow, Supriya. I think we all have had an amazing session. There's lots to take away. And the 4 E's, especially because we talk about 3 E's, which are definitely different, but your energy has left all of us energized and build that extra edge to execute. I mean, I can relate with that so well. It was amazing. And just as you told for your mom, if you can do it, so can I. I myself took a break of 22 years, and all I tell people is, if I can do it, so can you. So that is where it comes from. Good. We really had a wonderful session. I'm sure the audience is also equally energized with it. We are impressed with the way you've built an inclusive culture, providing equal opportunities to all in the organizations that you have moved about. Developmental programs for leadership development, technology and management tracks for career growth, innovation challenges of hackathon, innovation bazaar for inspiring ideation, Club Next for development of the next level of leadership pipeline, the concept of real women, real inspiration for introducing women professionals to role models, both within and outside your organizations. As you rightly said, and I can agree to it, that yes, you do need technological skills, but it is your people skills that actually matter. Technology keeps changing, but people remember you for who you are. Celebrating women at the top of their organizations inspires young girls as well as working professionals. And now I would like to talk a little bit about the awards which you have, so that everybody here knows about it. Women are 50% of the global population, make invaluable contributions to the world, and increasingly at their workplaces, but remain unrecognized and unsung. Western Digital, a leading worldwide data infrastructure provider, has announced the WeWa 50 awards in partnership with Vedika Women's Alliance. Western Digital amplifies women's voices and strengthens its commitment to a more diverse future. Under this initiative, 50 professionals will be awarded for their contributions. This includes senior women professionals across various fields and men who have advocated for inclusion in their organizations. I think these applications are open till May end, right?
Yes, till May end.
Till May end. So this initiative aims to create a platform to bring women together who are at the top of their fields, recognize their achievements, and help create a community of winners. Just for everybody's understanding, I would like to state the fields in which these awards are. These are for women in technology, R&D, government, law, social impact, academia, manufacturing, finance, marketing and sales, and HR. So all I would say is that if in the audience, if there is anybody who belongs to any of the field, as Supriya says, just go ahead and nominate yourself. If you know of somebody also who's there, please go ahead and nominate her, or then spread it around so that all the women are aware of this and they can nominate themselves. This, I am sure, will spark change in the ecosystem and inspire more and more women towards professional success. The moment they come into profession, that's when we take over with our vision and mission of getting more than 1 million women in the workforce and creating a league of financially independent women. Most of you who are attending today, I'm sure there are a lot of takebacks, and we look forward for you to become part of Aspire for Her. If you still are not, please go immediately and sign up with us. And we have many more exciting sessions for all of you. Thank you so much, Supriya, for this wonderful morning. And thank you, Team Aspire for Her, as well as Team Western Digital. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchita. Thank you, Pankti. Thank you, Palak. Madhura, thank you so much. And I want to take this moment and thank Harleena. Without Harleena, our bridge wouldn't have happened. She's a brilliant woman professional, entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur in making. And I think when she says believe in yourself, I think she gives us a message. Kudos to you and congratulations to everyone. And thank you so much for your time. You've given an hour of your time. I hope we did justice to that. Thank you so much. I'm humbled and very happy that we did this. Thank you for inviting me.
It was an amazing, amazing session, and we'd love to see more of you. We'd love to hear you more at Aspire for Her. So we'll leave you with that. If you see the kind of messages we are getting on our WhatsApp, on our Telegram groups, and right here, they're exploding absolutely with complimentary messages for you, Supriya. So we will not let you go without promising that you will get back to us very soon. And, we keep wanting to see more of you at Aspire for Her. Thank you so much for today, Monica. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a promise. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this inspiring and motivating session. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, and stay tuned for the upcoming session on LinkedIn.
Thank you.